the Confederate turn. It will be their first moves for the Second Battle of Winchester, which is the scenario that this campaign has decided on. This is the opening moves in the campaign of Gettysburg that we are doing. And we have the Second Battle of Winchester. You can see here we have the Valley Turnpike, Kernstown, and to the north we have Winchester, which I assume is held by the Union forces. And the goal for the Confederates is to take that town. And the historical Second Battle of Winchester was an overwhelming Confederate victory. We have the Confederate Second Corps that is arriving on the field in the south here. You have Early's division. And we're just to start, we're going to start moving them up the pike. I kind of made a little bit of an error here. I think I want to move my cavalry first, but I will move them along this road around here and then bring them around here. That way they can do a little bit more scouting. So this is Hayes' brigade and Smith's brigade of Early's division. And we also have Stewart's brigade along the Fort Royal Turnpike. Jenkins' cavalry. So if you're unfamiliar with the games, we have the infantry in the white here and the cavalry shaded yellow, and with a narrower body. This symbol identifies the column, the infantry in column, moving in column. If they were formed up in line, you would see them in a line formation. The red triangle at the top tells you which way they're facing. So if I put hex outlines here, so this infantry unit right here is facing through this hex, and they have field of fire on the three sides of hexes that are adjacent to whatever hex that they are facing here. So if they were in line formation, they could fire on units in this field of fire. So that field of fire would go here and here. I also have, I'm highlighting unit organization to help me keep the brigades in the same. You want to keep them together because command and control is extremely important in the John Tiller campaign games. Alright, so that will complete the moves. Basically, I'm going to move them up the roads for now, because I am just taking turns between Union and Confederate sides. Once I get the troops closer together, I'll decide on a plan for each side and stick to that plan. If I have subscribers that make comments, I'd be more than willing to take suggestions on what course of action to do. But once I decide on something, just so that to get into the role play of the game, I'm going to stick with that decision. So just to kind of lay out how I'm going to play this game without playing against the AI, which the AI just doesn't give you a good enough challenge. Alright, so now it's the Union turn. If you look at the bottom here, you can see it says visibility equals 70 hexes, so there's full visibility. It's 10 a.m. June 13th, 1863, and it tells you the Union, that it's the Union turn. This is a jump map, so it's like a high zoom out mode, and that red dot there represents the Confederate forces. That is a visible Confederate unit to my Union troops, so I can already tell that the Confederate forces are coming down the turnpike. There is one unit scheduled for reinforcement, and that will be, but that's later tonight, so at 8:40 p.m. So they're not going to be in the field anywhere in the near future. So that gives the Union 7,000 men to hold off. I'm not exactly sure how many Confederates are going to be on the field eventually. I think I peeked at it earlier in the turn. There's about 7,000 troops on the field already, but we shall see how much ends up on the field of battle. So we have some high ground over here to the west, some high ground to the west of Winchester itself. Thinking maybe the best course of action, and the units are fixed as well, so the Union side has a real tough, and they're very poor quality troops. Milroy, who is the commander of the 8th Corps, had a horrible reputation. And they are quality E. That's the worst, pretty much the worst you can do quality wise. I got D quality troops there. I mean, these are very green troops. So not a lot that the Union can do on this turn. Okay. Let's go back to the Confederate turn. So on the next turn, reinforcements have arrived for the Confederates. So the Confederates can see one of the Union, they can see that Union battery. So probably one of the things that if I was the Confederate commander playing against an actual opponent, I would try to outflank the artillery piece here, probably just down this road right here. You could probably guess at the Union forces not being overwhelmingly strong. So I think that's going to be the main goal, is to outflank that position right here. So I'll use the cavalry to come up here, make sure there's no Union forces in this area here. If the cavalry scouts see that there's no Union forces here, I'll try to bring the infantry up this way and try to take these artillery pieces from the flank, because they can get some cover here and here. So we will try to do that. If you double click on the scheduled reinforcement dialog, it will tell you where those units will come. So I have both. I have more reinforcements on the rebel side coming on both pikes. Oh, and even over here. So later in the afternoon, there should be more Confederate troops coming from Jordan's White Sulphur Springs. Oh, and that's well north of Winchester itself, so that would outflank the Union forces in Winchester. So this scenario gives a huge advantage to the Confederate side, just from the initial looks of it. So the Corps commander is now on the field. That's General Ewell, who took over the 2nd Corps after Stonewall Jackson's death, after the Chancellorsville battle. Remainder of Early's division. Actually, we're going to take this brigade, which is Hoke's brigade, commanded by Avery. So the Union forces are still fixed. When do they get released? Oh wow. So at 11 they should be released. So these are long-range guns, which is good. That's rifled artillery. And we can look at what visible hexes they can see. So the field of fire for these guns, if you were to draw a line through here and here. So if the Confederates do come up this road, these guns can still hit them here, and the guns have the main road pretty well covered. There's just not enough Union troops. More reinforcements for the rebels have arrived. So to review the plan, we have Ewell's Corps with Early's division on the field on the Valley Turnpike. I'm taking part of Early's division and I'm just going to swing around here and down Middle Road. And I will take the other half of Early's division. I will keep it. I'll actually veer off the Valley Turnpike and take this other road, so they will both come down parallel together. Plus there'll be some cover here, as I can see the guns right now. So, as the Confederate commander, I see that there's a gun emplacement here, so I can only imagine that there's some Union forces in this vicinity right here. So this is elements of Jackson's division. And then my plan with them is just to, we'll go down the turnpike here, and they will support the main attack, which will be over here. So they'll come, we'll come down to Kernstown from the Front Royal Turnpike. I'm not going to go through here. Jackson's division will come down to Kernstown to support the attack here, but I'm not going to go full go unless I see an opportunity to. Some artillery has arrived. I'm going to take some of the artillery and bring it over to the main assault. Alright. Still nothing the Union commander can really do right now. All the units are fixed. And no units in range to fire upon from this artillery battery. So right now, there's at least 14,000 Confederate troops on the field. Actually, there's about to be more. So right now, Confederate strength is 15,000. there's still more to come later in the afternoon, but no more reinforcements until 3 in the afternoon. So this looks like the first assault on Winchester will be beginning soon with the 15,000 that are on the field. And you'll see me play a lot more in this zoomed in mode once the units start fighting each other. It's good to see. It helps see the facing of the units a lot of the time. It's not necessarily because I want to see the miniature units, although it is kind of cool. To be honest, they're not the best graphics, but that's not why I really play or enjoy these games. But I still kind of like it. But yeah, it's a little bit easier to see what the facing of the units are. Sometimes you pick up on things on the 3D zoom that you might not pick up on, especially because of the stacked unit cards, like these leader cards. I want to see where the leaders are, so I usually have the leader cards or bases on top, but it's not clear exactly what is under them, right? Just by looking, obviously you can tell right here, but it does sometimes help to zoom in and see the units. But these hand-drawn graphics look much nicer than what we've had in the past. A little bit of an improvement, in my opinion, overall. And take it or leave it, these games do get a little clicky. So it's not a click fest. It's not whoever has the quickest ability to click on something that wins, but you're definitely clicking a lot of buttons with the John Tiller war games. So you can see the Union commander can now see elements of Johnson's division, although it remains hidden exactly what units those are. So the Confederate commander still does not see the infantry that's around here. The Confederates can only see this battery so far, but I'm trying to get cavalry up here to get a better look. So on this elevation, we should be able to see more of the battlefield. And that's what cavalry was used for in the Civil War. That was the main function, was reconnaissance. I'm going to count off how many hexes this is. Might be a good area. If the Confederates can get some artillery up here, that's very good firing position. About 18 hexes from here. So yeah, some of the 21 range rifled guns might be good here. But there's not a good line of sight right here. There's a good line of sight. So all the highlighted yellow obviously would be what you can see from even right here. Just if you can get to those guns. So with Stewart's brigade getting very close to Winchester, I think I'm going to march aggressively down the road to about here, and then I'll start trying to form a battle line. Again, trying to role play this situation. I don't know exactly where the Union forces are. So I'm going to make a decision and stick with that decision, even though I am playing as the Union side as well. You've got to kind of, if you're going to play a game like this way, you've got to kind of do a little role playing to make it worthwhile. The fun in it is because the artificial intelligence doesn't do a very good job tactically moving units around long distances and putting them in the right formation. Plus, it's a good practice. It's good to kind of practice against yourself to kind of get a feel for what an actual human opponent is going to do. When you do play a game versus play by email, or it's a good practice just to play against yourself, then kind of move troops around and see, all right, if I was another player, how would I react to this situation? Because real players will just do things differently than the AI, of course. Now, decision time. Do I take the cavalry up the pike to see what's over here? And I'm thinking that that is something I would have done. So I'm going to do it. Just to protect that flank. See, it is 11:20 and the units are still fixed. There is a randomness to the actual releases of the units. There's a probability that the units will release at 11 a.m., but there's a chance that they won't. So, and that's in this release dialogue here. We don't know exactly what that variable is. And obviously it was not in the Union's favor. The longer these troops are fixed in place, the more at risk they're going to get outflanked, surrounded, and completely destroyed. So this could get very interesting. And you can already see large numbers of infantry in column coming down the road. You can see the cavalry perched on elevation here. Taking a look. If I was the federal commander, I'd be like, oh, this is not looking really good. And you got more troops down the pike. Oh, we got artillery coming down the pike. So yes, not a very good situation for the Union commander. there's Milroy. So yeah, and then these these infantry are horrible. All right, well, can't do anything. And if you do stumble across this video, and please leave me a comment, music yay or nay. I like it for now. I'm just trying something different, and I can even try to find different music to play. I feel like there needs to be some kind of ambiance. Alright, so I'm going to start getting Johnson's division in position to start assaulting Pritchard's Hill. So that looks like the first line of defense. And then on the next turn, I will most likely change them into line formation so they can fire if they run into troops. And then here's the key to not the key, but I'm going to keep my commanders in the second line within command. So these yellow hexes, this is the command range for General Stewart here. So all the units that he commands, as long as they're within this yellow highlighted area, they should receive bonuses for morale checks, which is really important as when units take casualties or are fired upon or attacked. Those morale checks that those units take will figure out if they rout or run away or get disordered. And also those morale checks also affect how they reorganize. So a disordered unit is more likely to rout. A disordered unit is less effective in melee and firing. So keeping your units in order is one of the most important things you can do in this game. So that's this range right here is always good to know that if your units are within that range. And then also you want to keep your brigade commanders within your division commander's limit. So this is the division commander, Johnson. So I'm going to move him up, and now now just the brigade commander, Stewart, has to be within the range of the division commander. And as long as the regiments in the brigade, I'm sorry, these are battalions. As long as the battalions in this brigade are within the range of their brigade commander, you get double the bonus passed on. Now, there are die rolls that the commanders themselves have to pass as well to be able to pass bonuses on to their units and subordinate commanders. And you can see the command rating and leadership rating. The command rating is what keeps the units in command. So on the die roll, the higher the letter, the better. The lower the letter, the less likely they're going to hit their die roll, and less likely they'll be able to pass on any bonuses to their subordinates. So we can talk a little bit more about that in the game as we progress. Right now I've got Johnson's division kind of Stewart in the front and Walker in the rear. The old Stonewall Brigade. The famous Stonewall Brigade. Oh, so I had made the decision to move the cavalry up to see what's on the other side of this tree line, and they just got punished for it. Only 5 men lost, but they got disrupted right away. So, yeah, I'm going to retreat back. So now I know, as a Confederate commander, that there are Union forces on the other side of this. That will change my plan. So I've got Johnson's division here. So I may take a brigade. Sticking with the original plan, Johnson's division will invest Pritchard's Hill. And support the main attack of each division, which will be coming from the other side. But now he's probably going to have to keep a brigade over here to watch out for these Union forces here. So he's going to be limited in as far as his ability to support Ewell's attack on Pritchard's Hill. But as long as Johnson can get these guns up here, that might be all the support that Ewell needs. And then Hayes Brigade coming down this road. I will probably start getting into battle formation on the next turn. So, looks like on the next turn I will start getting into battle formation with Hayes Brigade, Johnson's division, while they wait for the rest of Early's division to come up this road here. Let's do one more turn and see if the Union forces get unfixed. Still not released. So I have to read up on what the alternate fixed unit release is. I believe there's a 4 hex radius. If an enemy unit enters that radius, then that fixed unit is released. I don't know if that's if the unit enters their line of sight or just fired upon, if that's checked. So it might actually have been a good optional rule to check, because this cavalry just showed up right in front of their faces, yet these units are still fixed. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap it up, or wrap this video up right here. On the next video, we are gonna do the assault on Pritchard's Hill. Maybe the Union forces will be released by noon, we just hit noon time in the game. Most likely, I have a feeling the Union's forces will be released. But it might be too late. The enemy might be upon them already. So I will see you the next time.